It's awesome with so many skilled RPA developers from India. Here's one of them, Parth Doshi, and he will present a very nice use case with UiPath Apps.
Maybe you can present the case. Maybe the first thing we want to see is the data. Like you talked about an Excel sheet.
Definitely,
That was,
definitely. Oh,
and then I'll leave it completely up to you to present the case.
yes, yes. Okay. Great. So to the viewers, we'll be saying everything in detail. So don't worry about the concepts if you don't know or have no idea about. That's not a problem at all. So this is my Excel data. You can see the Excel data. Okay,
Yeah.
let me just zoom it a bit more. Yeah. So this is like, as I told you, we are going to build an inventory dashboard. So here are the list of products that we have for now, right? So we have the total number of suppliers for that particular product. We have total sales. So since this is the dummy data, it is not changing and we are keeping it the same, but it can be changing.
I gotta interrupt you in one thing, because I wondered, I think I made some transactions with Indian rupees lately, and I wonder what's going on with the 100,000. Why do you have two commas in that one here?
This is
2,000 separated. What is that?
This is INR representation. So the numbering system we follow over here in India.
Okay. And this is 100,000, right?
No. This is called 1 lakh.
Okay, but
1 lakh INR.
What is this number in English? Is that 100?
Yeah, 100,000.
100,000.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It was just, I'll probably interrupt you 1,000 times during this video, but see it as a compliment, then it's only because I'm so excited. So
definitely. So this is like the current stock that is available for that particular product. So as we can see, for notebooks, there are 10 box available, then 50 pieces of shoes, 100 pairs of socks, pencil, writing pad. These are the pending orders for that particular products and total orders till now for that product. So this is the kind of dummy data that we have. So now the front end, or you say the UiPath app that we are going to build, is like the user will be giving this product name, right? So as soon as he gives the product name, the dashboard which we have will be populated with the values from total suppliers till here.
So you're building, just to understand it, right? You're building an application to the user that can show all these data.
Right. So it is like, as I said, it is going to be like an inventory dashboard, we can say. So that's pretty much in general, we can say, name it as dashboard. So this is what we are going to build, the complete use case. So now moving ahead is what we are going to do is, first we are going to build our UiPath app. Then we'll be building our process that will be passing the data from here to the app. And we are going to see how we can do that complete process in detail.
That sounds awesome.
Okay. So so before we go ahead, this is going to be our final outcome, as you can see. So you see, according to the Excel file, we have the product name, we have the total supply. So this all icons and all we are going to add. We have the total sale, we have the current stock, we have pending orders, and we have total orders. So this is our final result. So here is where the user types the product name and he clicks on search button, and then this data gets populated.
What is the switch in the left corner?
This is just I have added by mistakenly. It is of no use. So we'll be removing it.
Sure.
Okay. So now to use UiPath apps, what the users need to do is go to cloud.uipath.com, and since they have installed their UiPath, so they will be having this account created, right? And over here we can see the apps option in the left hand side. So just keeping this, we need to go to apps, and I have many build so that are being showed over here, right? So to create the app, what we need to do just initially is click on this create new button. When I click, I can name the app over here.
So where will this app, where can the user find this app? Is it a web app, or where do we find it?
So there are, one thing is this where we find our app, and I've executed in the web as well, right? There is one more possibility that UiPath has provided, that we can convert this into a desktop application. So
can this this data be accessed by external
uh,
users, or
for
will it only
so
be users in the company, so to say, in
yes, it
Orchestrator
can
apps?
be available only in the companies if we have that particular orchestrator access,
Cool.
right? So we need to provide that. So in apps also there is an option to provide the permissions. So if we provide the permission to that particular user, he can use that app just by, he will be having itself in the web app, as we can see over here. He will be also having that in his system, so he can execute it. So it is like internal to the organization, since you
Cool.
need to provide the orchestrator access to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how, like I showed, you need to just type the app name and then the file will be created over here. Now since I've already created, I'm going to use that and show each step how you can build that app once the app is created. So after the app is created, okay, let me just duplicate a page.
Parth is clearly a skilled teacher. If you want more of these videos, please give it a thumbs up. That will really help us a lot.
So 1 second. So once the app is created, we'll be seeing the app over here. As you see, I have different built over here, text to PDF or docs and all this kind of thing. So there are three options. There is export. You can export the with the UiPath app extension. We can share the app. So this is just like mailing. We can duplicate the app, delete. So these are the different options. Then one here is we can edit the app, in which how we are going to build our app, and one is for execution. So once we build our app by using this edit option, we need to publish it, and after publishing we can directly run it from here. So now once we have this, so initially this screen will be completely empty. You won't be seeing anything once you edit the app. So now what we need to do is, there are different controls provided. So as we can see, all these are different kind of controls. You see here I'm displaying my name, so it is one of the control we can say. Here I'm putting a label of product name, similarly over here. So these are different kind of controls, this icon, then typing the product name over here, then passing the value through orchestrator to our process. So these are the different kinds of user controls that we need to add. So here we see we have four controls: input, display, containers, and icons. So icons is self-explanatory. We have different icons available. I think there are around 100 icons available. I haven't counted, but just a approximate number. So there are kind of 100 you see icons
Are
available,
those free to
different kinds.
use?
Yes, yes, free to use. So right now UiPath Apps is in public review only, public preview. So it is available in the community edition, and everyone can just go ahead after watching this video and build their own app and maybe come up with some great use cases. So this is one of the control. Then we have input. Now input, as we know, can be of different kinds. It can be a button, it can be checkbox, a date picker, drop down, slider, switch. As we see, there are many of them over here. So here, what we are going to use is, we are going to use a button, and we are going to use this text box, as you can see, to type the product name. So we'll be seeing that in detail as well as we go ahead. In display, so if something I want to display, a kind of list, a kind of image, a header. So this is the header which you can see, inventory dashboard. So I've just dragged this header over here. Yes, you are asking something?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you think, what works best? Do you build this app and then build your workflow, or should you build your workflow and then build your app?
No, no. First, we should build the app, because in app, I will be knowing what all elements I want to include, what all will be the in arguments, what all can be the out arguments, right? So with that, I will have the complete user overview of what exactly I want to build and how it is going to process. So first, we should build our app to know the complete flow, and then go ahead with building the process.
Cool.
Okay, yeah. So we were on display. So as we can see, there are different kinds of display over here. A header, image, label. So UiPath has tried to, like, before giving it in public preview, they have almost tried to edit all the interesting features that we can, a user needs to see while building an app. So you see there are different kinds of process available over here. Now after that, we have containers. So if you can see on my screen, I have my dashboard very much structured. you see, if I'm clicking on this, this is my one part, and can you see that red border? Right? So that is my one container, right? So in that one container, I want to keep the elements horizontal. So I can do that. Now here, there is some different format followed, right? So this all are the different containers, we can say, in which I am packing my complete app to make it look good. And the switch you were talking about, it is here, and I'm just going to delete it because it is not at all involved with our process, right? So you see, now my app, if you see, it is divided into 4 sections. The first one is my header, right? The orange borders are visible clearly. The second is this one. The third one, we can see this particular complete thing. And the fourth one is this below one. So this is how I'm able to structure this complete app using these containers. So we'll be seeing when we can use which type of container, right? So now, since we have now seen all the types of control available to us, let's see how I have structured this complete app and build this complete app step by step. Like we'll be seeing how I have added each of these elements.
Looking
Right?
forward. Yep.
Okay, great. So first one, as I said, it is my just a simple header, right? So I've dragged the header over here. As you can see, I've just, if I drag this header again over here, it is going to be this kind of header. Now I can edit it, and there are different edit options. As we normally see, we can edit the font, we can edit the size and all that. So let me just delete this and let me show this. So each of the field, whichever we saw in input, in display, in containers, everything, they have 3 properties: general, events, and style. Like when we use UiPath activities, we have different kinds of properties. Similarly, we have here 3 kinds of properties for each of them: general, events, and style, right? So styling is basically giving the font size, keeping it center aligned, margin, background, different colors and all that. So it is kind of for styling purpose. You see, I have background color, then I have font, I have kept it as Arial black. I can make it bold, I can change the color. So these are all the different options available in the style property. Then if you want to add margin, right now this is the default one, 4 pixels, and size I have kept it as auto. So these are all the, like, if we want to customize it, it is completely customizable, and I have kept it as center aligned, as we can see over here, center. So it's left, center, then it's right, and then it is stretch. So these are different all styling properties that we can do to our text. Now going to the general property. So the text which you can see over here, inventory dashboard, that I have written over here, as you can see on my screen. Here you need to give the text that you need to display to the user, right? So this is the kind of thing that we can edit over here. Now if I want to keep a field hidden, so it will be not be visible in the UiPath app, and if I want to keep it as disabled, so the user can't edit it. So now where this particular properties can be used, the hidden and disabled one. So suppose I've built some kind of app wherein I'm passing the data from my UiPath process to my app, and I don't want the user to edit that particular field. So in that case, I will be using the disabled field, so the user can't edit that particular text box or the text area. So that is one of the importance why this disabled field. And hidden is when I want to set a value of that particular field, but I don't want to use it in my app. I just want to keep it hidden. So in that case, we can use hidden properties. So these are the importance or the use of this particular 2 properties, the hidden and the disabled. Now, the very important one property which we have is the create rule activity. So rule is basically something, if you see now, if we consider the user, when he clicks on a submit button or something like that, we want to show him a message like, please wait, the process is being executed, right? And once it is completed, we want him to notify just through a message, a simple message, as we see normally in our different kinds of website, that your process is completed, so that he can move ahead and do the second processing if he wants. So in all that cases, we use this create rule property. So if you see this button, what I'm doing is I have created a rule on which when I click on this button, a UiPath process from Orchestrator will be executed. So we'll be seeing that how we can do that, but just for now. So let me just go to create rule and what are the different rules available. So you see there are around 7 to 8 rules. I think the text is visible, or do you want me to zoom?
I can perfectly see it, even on my small laptop.
Okay. So if you see, we have different kinds of properties available over here. If then else is a very common one that we need. So if the value is this, then we want to do some kind of processing. If not, then we don't want to do that kind of processing. So it's like the normal if we use in our UiPath processes. Now open page is something like, now this app which I have built for this demo, it is a single paged app. It doesn't have multiple pages, right? But what if I want multiple pages? So if I click, so when we go to a website, when we order something, we have previous and next kind of options. That same can be made available over here. So when I click on next button, it will go to my next UiPath page. And when I click on previous button, it goes to my previous UiPath page. So these are all kind of features that can be used. Now open URL. Now this is used when I want to open a URL, right? Which goes to some third party website user. So on a click of button, suppose I want to redirect the user to company's internal portal, some other portal that is maybe built using HTML, JavaScript and all that. So any random website, or you say any HTML page that you want to redirect your user. So in that case, you use open URL. Close and pop up. This is like, as I said, if you want to display some element to the user, in case of pop-up, in that case, you use this particular kind of thing. Then later one, which we have a show message, as I said. So when we build our app, I have added this particular feature. So when user clicks on search button after typing the product name, what we are doing is basically, we are telling him, please wait while we get the live data for you. And once the data is populated, we'll show him the message. Here is your data, or something, that kind of message. Then later, if you don't want to show a message and you want to add a spinner, so please wait, your process is being executed, or something like that, just to make it more user interactive to the user and to make it attractive, we can use that. Then there is one more important, this is like one of the important rule that we have available, that is start process that we are going to use, that is executing a orchestrator process. As I said at the start, we are going to also build a UiPath process and then execute that particular process on a click of button through my app. So this is the process. Yeah.
So this process you build in UiPath, publish it to Orchestrator, and now we can choose it to start it from here. That's quite clever.
Yes. So because that is only the way how I can get the data from Excel and display over here, right? So for that particular thing, we have that feature. So we can just pass the data from my UiPath process over here.
So we need to have, so this app is just a shell, and we need to have the UiPath workflows behind it. We cannot create anything here in the app otherwise.
No, yes, exactly. So like we normally develop our websites as well, there is front end and then there is back end. So here it is similar. So my UiPath app is my front end and my UiPath Studio is going to work as my back end. So that is the options we have available over here. So I have added only one process which is required for this particular app over here. So not now, but later we'll be seeing that how we can add that. So let me just close this. Okay. So this was about the different types of rules that we have available in our UiPath apps. Right. So now let's start building our app. So what you need to do is whenever you need to add an element, you need to click on this container. We need to click on add new control. And then what I've done is I've simply dragged a text box, right? So you can see this is the text box wherein I can type the values. So we need to just simply drag the text box and you see there are different options available over here. So let me delete this and over here. So this particular variable which you can see, product name, it is coming from my UiPath process. So right now we are not going to see that. We'll see that once we have our process available in through Orchestrator. So when we show to the viewers, we have in the Orchestrator, that then will show how we can pass the values. So on click of search, what I'm doing is, as I said, I'm going to call my UiPath process, that is live inventory dashboard, which will be showing later in the video how we can do that part. Right. So this is the two things, one a text box and one a button. So two simple things we have done, right? And on click of a button, we are calling our UiPath process. So now the part which I was talking about. Now one thing the viewers need to keep in mind is always select this type as unattended. Otherwise, it will throw an error and the process doesn't get executed. So it's as well mentioned in the UiPath's documentation as well that we need to select it as unattended. And on forum also it has been mentioned. So now when my process starts executing, what I'm showing is getting live data for you. This is the message that will be showing. Okay. And once I have fetched the data from my Excel file, what I'm going to show is below is the inventory details. So these two are the message. So to keep the user informed as well, he should not be like he is out of clue like what is happening in the process. So we are just trying to pass that message that please wait, the process is getting executed. And in styling, if you see, I have kept it as horizontal. So because of that, this is the many times the question people have asked me, how we keep them side by side. So that is done by style and keeping it as horizontal. Horizontal means they are both side by side, both the elements, right? So now going ahead to our third container. Now let me show the styling over here first. Now if you see, I have kept it as vertical, but you see the bottom to up, the flow that I have kept or the structure that I have kept of this particular thing is bottom to up. So this is just a label. Since I always want to show, if I go over here, you see this is always going to be visible to you, the product name, right? And once I have that, here I have kept NA, not available right now. So when user opens the app, he will be seeing this. And when after clicking on search button, he'll be seeing the populated values over here. So this is just a label. This is again a text box. This is again a label wherein I'm passing my value, product name from my UiPath process. So this is one of the argument in my UiPath process that I'm passing over here. Will be
And
showing.
Here the product, this NA in the product name, that will come from your database.
Yes, yes.
In this case,
yes.
Excel.
Yes, yes. And this is the icon that I have added. As I showed, there are hundreds of icons available. So since this is just a product name, I have selected that information kind of icon. It's too much hard to find the different icons available over here because you see there is no search option. So you have to just scroll one by one to see which icon.
So that is a
fits for your-
search. You can see search controls, can
You can search the controls, but not the icon. So if I type text box, I
Oh,
can
it's the
see.
text. Yeah, of course.
So that kind of thing is there. Yeah. So no problem with that, but it is very easy to.
What if you
find,
type robot up
so
here?
in the similar way
you
as I have kept this, here we have the total supplies. Again, we have NA. And if we go to see the style over here, it is again going to be the same. As you can see, it is bottom to up and it is center aligned. Since I wanted to keep properly structured and keep it in the center. Again here in NA, we are passing one of our arguments from process that is going to be total supplies. So this is how like we read the data from Excel and then we are just assigning it to a variable and then passing over here to an argument, sorry. Then moving ahead to the total sales in this similar way, it is built over here. Right. Now, again, the fourth part. So as we have built this three particular UC elements, in this similar way, we have built this as well. Again, this is a label. This is as well a label, but here we are passing the value current stock. That is my argument in UiPath process. And this is the icon. Again, the style of this is going to be UC bottom to up and it is center aligned. Similar way, we have built this over here and over here. So only one thing that you see is changing in all these elements. Even when I was building this app, I've just copy pasted each of the elements side by side and then I've just changed the values. So it is not like too much of work over here to build this particular app, but I have to just identify how I want to pass the value and which values I want to pass. So that is only
You are an awesome teacher. I think it's very nice to hear a competent teacher going through all this. I should watch more of your videos.
Okay, great. So now you see, if you see, we have the direct option as well over here. You can see this plus sign, the small plus sign. So if I want to add a similar kind of this particular box, or you say container, not box, I just click plus and I have that same size box over here. I can add sideways as well. So there are multiple options available. Our task is getting easier and easier. So now after that, if you see, this is again NA, going back to journal. Here I'm passing my argument total orders, and here it is a label and the icon. So this is how you see I've built my front end very easily, and you see half of the work is same. If I see the above complete this particular container, it is same as the below one, just the fields are changing. So it completely, now what I would say is in apps, it completely depends on the creativity level I can go at. Right. So if I can think of some kind of a business use case, even I can build that, because the elements and the features are available that all we see in a normal use website or a normal app. You either input some data or you click on a get data to get some particular data, right? So that are the different kinds of options we think can be possible. So in this similar way, this is the dashboard that we have. So here we complete our front end part. So here we completely build our front end within no time. If you go to say, once the user gets a hands-on by building 1 or 2 apps, I think he can build this kind of dashboards in like 15 to 20 minutes every day. It's just that he need to think of idea or different use cases. As simple as that.
Parth, that may be true if we are as clever as you, but we might be a little bit slow.
No. Trust me, once you start building an app, so if you have an idea in mind and when you just sit to build an app, you will be building that complete app within no time. Because you see, everything is just like easily searchable and you can access it quickly. There's no like too much to go here and there and find for this activities or input fields, right? So now what we are doing here is once the user types the product name. So our flow is basically like this only. Once the product name is typed and the button is clicked, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for that particular product in my Excel file. So we have already an activity for that, that is lookup data table. So we are going to look up for that particular value. We are going to take all the values from each of the row using the normal syntax how we do the typical lookup data and all that operations. So we are going to do that, assign it to the arguments and not to my variables, since we want to publish it to the orchestrator and then access it there towards here. So that is the thing. So now we'll go ahead and build our UiPath process, and then we'll see the connection between both of them, how I'm actually mapping this particular thing, right?
Cool. Do you know if an app can access more than one workflow?
Yes, see, if I have 4 buttons over here, right? If I search, if I add, delete or something like that. Let's take an example of add, edit and delete, right? So you have 3 buttons, you can have 3 different processes.
Cool. Nice.
You can have n number of processes depending upon your use case, your application, and how you want the flow to go. So it's like completely configurable.
Cool.
Okay, so now let's build our UiPath workflow. Let me zoom this a bit. So I think, let me make it 150%. Yeah, I think this should be fine.
I should do this. A lot of my viewers on my tutorials, they're complaining that I write too small, so I should definitely start doing this.
Right. Okay, so now we need not install any packages and everything, because Excel operations are performed using the default packages only. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to read our data from this particular Excel file. So we are reading the data using read range activity of workbook and not of the Excel application scope. So we are using the workbook activity of read range. Then I'm saving that particular data into my data table called inventory DT. Right. So as we said, we are going to search for that particular value in the Excel file. There are different ways to do it. We can use either link query, whatever is like how advanced the user is and how the knowledge the user has. He can use that kind of activities. But I would suggest if the user is just getting started with exploring all these things, the apps and all, just use the simple activities and go with the flow. What is there till now, right? So in lookup data table, we have the some say properties that are to be provided. Now one is the inventory data table. Now the lookup value is going to be my product name, which I'm going to fetch through my app, which I'm passing over here, that argument. Right. So in argument, I have my product name, which I'm going to access to my app. So I'm going to search for that particular value, right, in my inventory data table, and the column name, as we know, it is product name, right? So we are searching the product name column with the product name value that is coming through apps in my inventory data table. So that's how the flow goes. And I'm taking the row index because then later I want to access the further part of that particular row and assign it to my argument.
So what you're doing here is that the lookup will search for something in our product name column, and then you will get the row index so you can work with that later on.
Right.
Cool.
So what I will do is I will just take this value. I will assign it to my total supplier argument. I will take total sale. Similarly, I will assign to this argument, and then further as we go on. So we have this. So you can say these are my arguments that I've created. Let me show that as well. So you see, I've created my arguments: product name, total suppliers, total sale, current stock, pending orders, and total orders. Right. So these are the arguments that I have created over here. Now I've used a multiple assign, right, to assign the values, as I said to you, that will be assigning the values after taking the row index from here through my lookup data table. So the syntax is.
Can you hover the expression here?
Yeah, I'm showing the complete syntax. Yeah. So if we go over here and see, so it is like data table dot rows, passing my row index, the column name of which I want the value, dot toString, as simple as that. So specifying the data table, then because we have the row index, so we are going to loop it through the row. We are passing the row index, again the column name, dot toString. So similarly for different columns I have done that. Total sale, then current stock, then pending orders, and then total orders. So this is, you see, 3 steps I've used, and the front end you see looks pretty much attractive, like this is very much unique, but if we go to see the back end, it is very simple. So this is how we have built our UiPath process as well. So a quick recap of the process, let me do that because I think people should not get confused between what we did in apps and what we are doing over here. So basically here also there are 3 steps. There we saw 4 sections in the apps. Here we have 3 steps: reading the Excel data, fetching the value using lookup data table, and then assigning to the arguments using the 1-line syntax that we saw. And for all this, we need to create the arguments, no need to create the variables. Right? And yes, go ahead.
Can you repeat that with the variables and the arguments? So these here, are those arguments or variables?
Yes, they are arguments. I will show the arguments as well. Right? So you see, these are the arguments. Now there's one more confusion. So in arguments, as we know, there is in and out direction. This was the problem even which I faced initially while I made my first video of UiPath apps on developing this kind of backend. So now what we say is, here you see I have kept the direction as in/out, right? So now what happens is, in UiPath process, the normal understanding is that when the process is coming into a workflow, it is an in argument, and when it goes out, it is an out argument.
Okay, right? So we need both of them here.
Right. So now here what is happening is, for my UiPath process, the data is coming in, right? But for my UiPath apps, the data is going actually out. You see, like this is confusing. So let me clear that again. So basically, we should treat our UiPath process and UiPath apps differently. In UiPath apps, I want the product name to be typed, right? And that I want to pass outside the app to the process. So there I will be giving the out argument.
Okay.
Okay. So
I think I got it.
I will be showing that as well. No need to worry. So just one thing to the viewers in mind, create them as argument, not as variables, because arguments will be visible in the orchestrator. Don't worry about this confusion. We'll clear out it in next few minutes. Okay. So once this process is developed, one thing we need to have is our orchestrator connected. So you see, I have my orchestrator connected on my UiPath assistant, right? And here it automatically gets connected. So if you see over here, it is default and my orchestrator is connected. So once we have built this particular process, what we need to simply do is click on this publish button, right? Name the package name, whatever way we want to give. So this is the first version only. And I have already published it, so I'm not doing it again. And then just click next. So here you only need to change one thing, is the package name, even if you want to change. If not, keep it as whatever it is as by default. Going to next, and then we need to click on publish. Once clicked on publish, the process will be available in the orchestrator. Now how to do that? Let's go ahead and see that. So till now, what we have seen is we have built our front end, we have built our back end, but what we are left with is mapping them. So let's do the final part of mapping them, and then we will be seeing the final result as I showed at the start itself. Okay. So to move ahead to our orchestrator, you need to go to this orchestrator services. Let me just open it in the new tab.
While we are waiting for here, do you use other RPA tools other than UiPath, or are you a UiPath exclusive?
UiPath exclusive. So recently I've started making videos on related to some coding concepts as well in UiPath. So like we use VB.NET and C#. So I thought they are also like kind of very much useful when in some particular scenarios. So like many companies don't allow external packages to be used most of the times. While building processes, I have got that doubts from viewers of my channel. So they can't use the external packages. They just need to use what are there. So then even though that is the constraint, how they can use some sets of activities and solve that particular problem. So that what I have got into right now and building videos on that. So now this is the orchestrator interface, as we can see. Right now I need to go to the process. So once I have published and I have went into processes, it won't be directly visible over here, right? What I need to do is I need to click on this add symbol, right? Then I need to select my package. Once we have published that, if we notice over here, when I click on publish, it is available as a package name and not as a process. So since it is a package, I need to first edit and then it will be available as a process. So that is the thing that we need to note, because people might just publish and ask the doubt in the comments, where is the process? So before that only we will explain that completely. So you see, these are the different processes that I have published, and the one which is there is inventory live dashboard. So once I select that, I can put the display name whatever I want. Let me just name it as dashboard, right? So dashboard package version, it is by default value. No environment selected. Make sure you select a proper environment that is connected with your robot. Now description can be given according to our choice. That's not a compulsion. Now if you see, the input and output values are available over here. So as we can see over here, in this way, they are going to be available us to in our UiPath apps as well.
Yep.
So that's why we need to keep them as arguments. And now one more thing that we need to keep in mind is we need to enable this particular option, automatically start the process. If you don't switch this, it will throw an error while we are executing our UiPath app. So that's the one thing we need to keep in mind, and we need to select this. So let me just create the process, because I have one already created, but I have the display name is different, so there won't be any problem. Okay. So once I click on create, make sure, okay. So as you see, it is already deployed to one particular, yeah. So I can't do it. So let me just exit and leave this. So once you do that, it will be available over here. You see live inventory dashboard was the name that I had given before. So now it is available over here under the environment UiPath apps. The job priority is normal, as we had selected it as by default. It is a type of a process, and it is a blank process because we didn't add any description. So now what we have done is we have built our front end, we have built our back end, and we have our process in the orchestrator available. Now the last thing that we need to go ahead and do it is map it in our UiPath app along with the proper direction of the arguments. Right? So let me just go over here, and what you need to do is first, okay, let me just do this. So you see your process, that particular process is available over here, live inventory dashboard. You can see on my screen. Yeah. Okay. So you see beside the dashboard, like the name I have given, there is a plus sign. I can either add a new page, as we saw, like we can open a page as well. So either I can add a new UiPath app page, I can add a control, which option we have here as well, add new control, and I can add a process. Now this process is what we are talking about, the orchestrator process. So when I click on this, right? Okay, so one more thing. Now, because I have already added it, it is showing me this particular thing. But to the viewers viewing the video, you will be seeing here your orchestrator name. So if I go back to my, okay, let me go back to my cloud.uipath.com. So you see here is the name, self-employed default. So that name will be visible over here, and they will be having an option to click on next. So without selecting anything, they have to just click on next, and after that they will be able to see the process that are available. So you see, since I've already added this particular process, so we need to click this checkbox and we need to select. So once I select this, it will be added. The orchestrator process is now available in my UiPath apps, and now I just need to do the mapping of the arguments, like in, out, whatever we want to do. So again, let me just clarify this thing. Click on the plus sign available besides your app name, select the process, click the next button, select the process from your orchestrator, and press this select button. That's it. So once this select button is pressed, you can see the dashboard over here. Now if I click on parameter, the process over here, you see I have the parameters name, all my arguments. So these are like the different kinds of option available over here. So now let's do the mapping. Okay. Yeah. So you see value binding is the place where we need to map our arguments, right? So let me just delete this, and you see I can see the process available over here, right? And when I expand it, I can see my both the directions arguments in/out, right? So now what the confusion which I was talking about, right? The arguments confusion. So now I want to pass the value to my UiPath process, right? What I'm doing is I'm passing the value from my app outside.
So so if we want to clarify this, it's from the standpoint of we are in our app now, and because we're going out of our app, it's an outgoing argument from the app.
Right. And that's why the direction is in/out. So when it goes as an out argument over here, there it takes inside the workflow.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So this is like the confusion which I spent at least 2 or 3 days initially when I was exploring apps.
Yeah.
So here I need to put the out argument, right? And now all the values in this NA fields I will show one by one, but these are going to be my in argument because the value is going to come inside the app, right? So here you see, if I go to value bind, I'm just going to pass the product name. If I go over here, I'm going to pass the in argument of total suppliers.
Parth, tell me,
Yes.
so we are making these as the total suppliers. That would be an incoming argument. How come that we also need to select it as an outgoing argument? Is that seen from our workflow standpoint?
No. So see, that's why when I said initially that we keep our arguments as in/out. So when I pass it, so there it is assuming that it is an out direction because it is going outside to my orchestrator process. And from orchestrator process, I'm taking inside over here. So both things are different. That's why we are keeping the direction as in/out. So UiPath process automatically takes itself since it is passing the value outside the workflow. And here I'm taking inside. That's why I'm specifying inside. So this is the major confusion I have noticed even with my own self and with other people's as well. So you see, similarly, we have passed all the values as in arguments in this particular labels. If I go to total orders, even here it is like the in argument, right? So now we have built our complete the case that we had. So what we started with was we built our front end, we built our back end, we kept our backend on the orchestrator, and from orchestrator we did the mapping with the UiPath apps, and we cleared the major confusion of the in and out arguments. So this is how like we have built our complete app. And now once we have built it, you have two options, preview and publish. So if you just want to see that the structure looks proper, you don't need to align something or like that, you can just click on preview. Otherwise you can just click on publish. So I'm going to just quickly publish my app, and now my app is published, right? So I have already over here. Let me refresh it.
And how do we get that link here?
Which link? Okay.
So how do we?
Yeah. Got it. Good point. One second. So when we started with creating the app, you see here is the run button. You see the run button over here?
Yeah.
So I just click on that run button and it comes. Did you say something?
No, I was just curious. Is this a unique link? Can we share this link with others in the?
No, we can't share the link. As I said, like we need to have the orchestrator access as well. We need to provide the permission. So even if you have this particular link and you have the orchestrator access as well. So suppose we both are working in the same organization, we both have the access to a same orchestrator credentials, right? But I have built this app and I haven't given the permission to use this app. So till then you can't use it.
Cool.
So that's the thing. So here you see now I'm going to type my product name. So let me close this file since it is a workbook activity. It will throw me an error if I don't have the file closed. Notebooks. Let me just click on search. Okay, it is executing. No, it came. So you see below is the inventory details and I have the values populated over here.
Cool.
Yeah. So this is like how we have built our complete case today. I think I mostly covered each step in detail, so the viewers might not have problem, but I'm always ready to help and there to help.
That's perfect.
So no
Parth, you're an awesome teacher. Thank you for taking your time to talk with me and share a lot about UiPath apps.
This is like one of the first collaborations and maybe a very big one for me.
That's so awesome, Parth. Thank you, and maybe we could make a part 2 if this is going really well.
Definitely, we can go ahead and I can come up with some good business use case. So not just keeping it in a learning way, but also taking it to an enterprise level. Use case of that kind can also be thought.
That's awesome, Parth. Have a good time.
Yes. You too. Thank you, Anders, for having me.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Would you like to see more of these videos? Let me know. Meanwhile, you can check Parth's best video up here, or you can check my UiPath beginners tutorial here. Have a good day.